Here we go, here we go. Oh Christ, not another one. It really sucks that I've already done this episode in my head. I've done this podcast in my head before coming here today, so I wish I could take it out of my brain and put it here in the audio recording software. That would be a lot easier, I guess. I mean, I suppose it would take up the same amount of time as actually talking, because talking takes the same amount of time as thinking what you're talking. Oh, what a shame! I had so many interesting topics, and now, well, I did write some of them down. I'll throw the, what do you call it? The stinger? What's it called when you say the episode? When you say the name of your own podcast? I mean, you know the name of this podcast, but I believe I'll get around to it. I think it's episode 3. I don't know. I got confused because I'm stupid for doing like the negative episodes and then these ones. Anyway, I'll start off with the film review that I've got. Oh boy, there's going to be a lot of film reviews in this podcast. I mean, this might as well be a film review podcast, but I want to talk about other shit. I got other interests. I've got like 2 other interests. I mean, I like films, music, and... Oh wow, I've only got 2 interests. Okay, but... I don't know. No, I guess that's really it. I was going to say history. Not really. I've only just started getting into it. I guess it's an interest. Yeah, no, it is. I want to read up on history right now. Fuck this podcast. I'm not doing this. Anyway. Well, we'll get it. So, I watch a lot of films. So I could be talking about better stuff than this film. Better films than this film. Which is the classic Batman and Robin from 1997. So I finally put this on the other night for the spoilers. I liked it. I like it for what it is. It's very hard to explain. I don't know how I'm gonna like justify me enjoying that fucking movie. There's enjoyment to be had in it. I obviously know why people say it's terrible, and even though there's terrible things in the film, it doesn't make me hate it. I mean, obviously, I guess it's just a bad film that I like The Room or Neil Breen's films or all these other ones. And I've seen some films that are like, people say they're so bad they're good, but I'm like, not really. It's just bad. And it's boring. And that's the thing about Batman and Robin. At least it's not boring, and that's the main sin I suppose a film can make. But I put it on for potential nostalgic reasons, but I can't really remember watching it as a kid. I believe I must have. Probably saw it in the cinemas. I don't know. I have no fucking memory. But I was really big into Batman, so it would have been like 6 when it came out. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't know. I guess my brain blocked it out because it was so terrible. But watching it again now, as a fucking 29-year-old, it's certainly something. Like it really was more stupid than I thought. And I think I've seen some videos on it. So I kind of knew like what things were bad in it, which is everything. But I think it's mainly like, I think the main thing that comes to mind with what's bad about the movie, which is also what's good about the movie, is not the plot progression, but like how a scene unfolds and how like an action scene, like the opening one where Ice Face, Mr. Freeze, whatever his name is, he's stealing things in a museum. He has a fight, the henchmen fight Batman and Robin, I believe. There's police there as well. I don't know. There's a big fight, and they're like skating. Yeah, I think. Or was that later on? Oh fuck, man. I watched this the other night and I still can't remember it. But anyway, it's just a pretty stupid fight scene. But then it really gets like astronomically stupid and just keeps going when Mr. Freeze gets in his rocket ship in the museum and takes off. So Batman's in the rocket as well. Robin's holding on to the outside. They go up into the sky, like right into the sky, and Mr. Freeze like gets out because he freezes Batman to the inside of the rocket. Mr. Freeze jumps out, and I'm like, okay, well I guess he's got a parachute or something. No, he's just got like little wings that come out, And then as he's falling to the ground, he like disables the wings. And then what does he do? He just like lands on the ground. And then Batman and Robin fucking... I'm looking at it in... When Robin goes into the inside the rocket and gets Batman out, and they're like, "How are we gonna get out?" And Robin there's generally things like there's unintentional humor and then there's intentional humor that I find working. At that point, Robin says, "What are we gonna do? Take a taxi?" I was like, "Fucking hell!" It makes me laugh. Oh, there's some good lines in the film. A great line is from Poison Ivy when she says, like her whole performance is pretty one note really, where she's just like this sultry, demoness woman villain who's like, what's it called, femme fatale, I suppose, but in a really cheesy, campy way, which is like, ooh, seduces men but then kills them or takes their power or whatever. She says in that kind of voice, "So many people to kill, so little time." That's a fucking great line. It's a great villainous line. Like, I can't remember any lines as like evil as that from like The Dark Knight. I don't remember the Joker saying anything like that. He was all like philosophical, but Poison Ivy just get straight into it. Fuck these men, and we're gonna kill them. Anyway, so fucking hell, Batman and Robin, when they're in the rocket ship, they set to like blow it up and whatever. Okay, cool. I guess none of the debris is gonna like land and hit someone or destroy buildings or whatever. So they fucking this is so 1997. They like smash down the doors of each side of the rocket, and use those doors to like airboard their way through the sky towards the ground, and the rocket blows up behind them. Oh god, I'm just like, oh god. No, like 10 minutes into this fucking film, it's so stupid. And then like I just kept melting my mind, and then I'm like, wait, how did they get there? Because then they just kind of like land. How the fuck did they get to the ground? I remember Robin like lands the board on top of like, you know, this roof. And like the tiles of the roof start coming off, and I'm like, yeah, great. He would have broken his legs, but whatever. Fucking film. So they land on the ground and keep chasing Freeze. That's just one of the fucking moments that's so stupid. So really, a lot of the action scenes are like that. And it's like. Wait, I'm trying to think of the other one. Oh, I'll just go to the ending. The fucking ending of the film as well is incredible. Like, freezes Gotham City. Okay. What does he have, like a big kind of laser thing? What the fuck? How does this even work? He has a big laser, think of it like a laser that he shoots the ice over the city. It's like, okay, whatever, it's frozen. He freezes everyone. And then he gets like, knocked down or something, and Batman has to unfreeze the world. So he uses these satellites that were established earlier to get the sun's heat and direct it over the top of the fucking city to melt it. It's such a fucking... It is like a kid playing with these fucking action figures and saying, and then this happened, and then this, and then he freezes the city, but then Batman unfreezes it using powers from the satellite. I guess using satellites and all that is like a bit advanced for like a 5-year-old, more like a 7-year-old, what they would come up with. But the beauty is, it's actually filmed. They actually made it. They didn't just write it. They didn't just come up with this concept. They filmed it, and they did it in earnest. Well, that's great. I mean, I do kind of like that storyline because it kind of works as a comedy, really, and I can't believe how serious they fucking take it. But I keep thinking of Batgirl in the film. Another great line is that's funny. That's in the trailer as well. When Batgirl first comes in, it's so stupid, and she's like, "I'm Batgirl," and Batman says, "Batgirl, it's not very PC. How about Batperson?" I'm like, that's very ahead of its time. Oh god. Oh yeah. Another thing is Batman when he first shows up, He's like, "Hi, Freeze, I'm Batman." Then he just starts fighting him. It's so simple. I'll get into Batman in a sec, because he's so lean, he's so, like, direct in this film, and I like him. I like, he's no bullshit. Like, when he's arguing with Robin, Robin's like, don't need Batman, I'm gonna do this solo. And then he keeps tempting to do that. Then he has a stupid, like, bike race. I guess he did that. Well, it's not like he did it behind Batman's back, or Bruce Wayne's back, and he finds out, and he's like, how dare you? Like, I guess that doesn't have to do with Bruce Wayne, but, yeah, he's, like, just about to get in his car and be like, fuck you, Batman, I'm out of here, it's just Robin from now. And the Batman gives a speech. Not really a speech, he's just like, hey, we gotta do things together, and then he's just like, alright, let's go get Freeze. But Batman's so no bullshit and just so to the point. Like, when he's arguing with Robin about this, he just keeps saying, I think he's even saying, like, we don't have time to argue, like, we gotta get this done, we gotta get Freeze, you know, we gotta work together. Because Robin's like, yeah, you're just a side character. I'm just a sideman to you, I'm just your henchman. Batman's like, no, I need you, man. He's just very direct, like, it's a very, economic script when it comes to Batman. He isn't really, like, chewing up the scene or whatever, even though George Clooney does a terrible fucking job at playing him. He's so, not monotone, I guess, but he's not acting, he's just talking. I can't believe he got paid anything to fucking show up in that movie, like, and just talk, not even act. But yeah, I like the Batman in that film. Well, it's not like he's like a real... Like, there's so many characters in the film, the Batman just kind of feels like just another character. Like, I think each character gets about almost the equal amount of screen time. It's not like all Batman and then these other characters are there. I think Bane's not really a big part of the film. I forget how he even dies. He probably doesn't. No one dies in this fucking film. Because it's made for kids. It's made for babies. And then there's Batgirl. And Batgirl is like, you know, the niece of Wilfred. Even Wilfred gets a lot of screen time in this fucking film. He's like got a big story in it and everything. He's like, oh, I'm dying, but I found a cure for the thing that's also to do with Freeze's wife. Oh. So Batgirl, she's just basically, you know, related. By family, not by family to Bruce Wayne, of course. But, you know, she's probably familiar with him and Robin, whatever Robin's name is. So she comes in and she's kind of part, and then she, like, I don't know why, but then she hacks into the fucking Alfred's computer. It's like, I wonder what the password is. Wouldn't it have been better if she just actually hacked into it to show that she has, like, that kind of them smarts and, like, a little initiative, and that she knows how to, you know, Batman would know a decent amount about hacking, although that's more the tech job. What was the Morgan Freeman character in The Dark Knight? Not that character's in Batman and Robin. I wish he was. Anyway, she hacks. She's guessing the passwords. She's just like, 1, 2, 3, 4, ABC. Just trying all these things. And then she guesses, because, oh, Jesus. Because she got the fucking... I don't know who Peg is, like his dead wife or whatever, but Wilfred or Alfred, I don't know, Fred, one of the Freds has this, like, framed photo with Peg written on it, and she's like, Peg, and she puts that in, just like all this really top secret stuff, and you got like a 3-letter password that's on your fucking table. It's so obvious that I wouldn't have been able to guess it. So I guess this film is just actually smarter than I thought. So Batgirl, whatever her name is, she gets in and she's looking at all this stuff that, like, projects onto her face. Like, the computer screen just projects. It's not really a screen, it's a projector, it seems, because it projects onto her face all these, like, top secret things that she's going through. She has a big smile on her face, like, haha, I knew it all along. He's been working for Batman. What? Yeah, I don't know why. I must have missed a plot detail. Or the film just didn't give a shit and was just like, yeah, whatever. She just finds it. And they even show, like, the opening credit Batman logo on her face as well. Like, that's in the fucking... that's in Alfred's computer as well. So, and then she goes down into the Batcave, and Alfred shows up on a computer, and he says, "Oh, we've been expecting you. I've even got a suit modeled all for you." So she gets in the suit, goes and saves Batman and Robin, like just in the nick of time, and yeah, they all just fight together, and they're all like, "Yeah, partners, yeah." Partners. Like, what? What kind of screening process is this to be fucking Batgirl? To be Batman's fucking another associate of him? Not associate, but like a fucking superhero. Just another superhero. Like, well, yeah, part of the team now, bitch. Oh, Christ. I mean, I guess she's shown to be kind of like a badass, and like she takes Robin's bikes out during the night. And then there's that scene where she and Robin, like she doesn't know it's Robin because he's got a helmet on, but they have like a bike race in these like kind of dodgy area in Gotham City. It's just like a big fucking action scene that doesn't really do anything. It's just shows that she's a badass and she can handle a little danger for a girl. But that Robin is not really, he's not really protective of her or anything. He's just like, "Hey, you're a real badass." Never knew that. Yeah, so that's the characters. I mean, I can't even get into Freeze or Poison Ivy or any of the villains. How many villains are there in this fucking film? It's like 70. Yeah, what I'm trying to say is that this is a good film. It's well made. Well, no, obviously not, but it is enjoyable for that terribleness. Like, it's just good to watch it and just to be in shock and dismay at what it is offering for us with these the way the characters are developed, how they go from one thing to another, where they're just suddenly a fucking superhero. I'm just trying to think, is that what happened to Poison Ivy? Because she just like melts into the, she just had poison. She just gets poison poured on her. She falls into the ground and then rises back up, and she's Poison Ivy. Like, all right. Whatever, just fall in radiation and you become a superhero. It's that old trope. But yeah, I am defending this film. And I guess the thing is that it is, despite how cheesy the film looks, it's still, like, you know, when you look at the sets and the props and everything, they don't look very good at all. Even the CGI obviously is outdated. But I think this film came out in a sweet spot in terms of being a blockbuster where there is some CGI and probably enhanced some of the scenes, but I think a lot of it is in camera. Must have been directed by Christopher Nolan. You look at it and it's like, it does look cheap, but it doesn't. I guess it works for the film's aesthetic because it doesn't need to look like an actual film. I don't have to actually get engrossed in this kind of fucking film because I'm not taking it seriously at all. Why would I? Why the film doesn't take itself seriously? Film doesn't give a fuck. And that's why I like it. But the style, that style, it's so, I called it, it's very camp, British, and gay. Like, you've got like these, I like how Gotham looks. Like, there's like these huge statues. They're massive. They're the size of buildings. And they're of like muscular men. I want to live in that. But the style is just so, I mean, it is dense. Like, there's so much there must have been so many lights with, like, different gels, different colored gels all over the set when they were filming this shit. Just everything has to be going. Even if it looks bad, it's just like, if it looks bad, don't improve it. Just put more and more on it. Sometimes with these terrible films, I guess you could probably say the same thing about Battlefield Earth, is that they do have this style that just goes over the top, like way, way over. Like, they just pushed it so much that, like I'm saying, they didn't, like, if they're setting up a scene, setting up a shot, especially an establishing shot, like setting up the mise-en-scène in a shot or a scene, they didn't just like try to make it look good, even if simple. They just kept adding and adding and adding and putting shit on it. And the film kind of works for that, like everything about it, like the props and the sets, cinematography, all the lighting. But they, you know, at least it's consistent. That's what I'll say about the style of any film that I watch. Like, it should be consistent. If it's inconsistent, it should be knowingly so. So yeah, it's kind of an exhausting watch, and it is really something. It's not just a film I saw and just thought that's terrible. I didn't like it. I don't want to watch it again. I already want to watch it again. I think it's great. Not great, but just as I'm saying, just you really can't believe what it is you're seeing, and that it was actually done on such a big scale. Like, it looks big and expensive and doesn't at the same time. I don't know how to describe it. Like I'm saying, like there's just so much cheapness that it's expensive. Is how that fucking film is. That's really my review of the classic, infamous Batman and Robin, one of the best Batman films. I don't really know. Like, people say like it's camp, like the original '60s series. Maybe so. I haven't seen those in a while, or that film in a while. I don't know. Like I'm saying, it's this. Yeah, this worked as a comedy, that didn't give a fuck, as comedy should too. It didn't care about itself or you. Doesn't care about anything. I mean, I can't say like it's lazy, and it's definitely not lazy filmmaking. It's lazy storytelling. Like, they just, like, it's like a first draft of the story. They're just like, oh, how did this happen? Well, I just did this. How do they get out of this rocket? How are they gonna get to the ground? Oh, they just surf their way down, man. All this horseshit. How does he unfreeze the city? Oh, well, I guess they put a bit more thought into that. They're like, it didn't come out of nowhere. They're just like, oh, he redirects the satellites and it hits the was it a telescope that he uses? And he redirects the sunlight and unfreezes everything. No one burns in the process. They just unfreeze. Oh, fuck. That's the level of fucking filmmaking and storytelling there. I don't know how to sum this up in a way where it's like, that like justifies my enjoyment of the film. I don't know how to really put it in like one sentence how I really feel about this film, other than that it's just an enjoyable fuck of a film. What else can I say? Well, give it another shot. I mean, of course you should expect badness, but it's just not that kind of, it's like on the level of The Room, but it's a fucking big blockbuster film. I'm sure there are blockbuster films out there that were like considered terrible and like panned, but they're probably really boring, and they just like, the film took itself too seriously. At least this film, it really doesn't, and it does have intentional humor in it. I appreciate it. I'm glad it exists. That's what I can say. Not the best thing ever, just a good movie, a good experience. Fucking hell, I can't believe I talked for like nearly 25 minutes about fucking Batman and Robin. Oh, I had some other topics. Fuck it, what a fucking waste of time and bandwidth. Oh, I haven't even done my throw yet. This is the David Morgan Brown Experience, episode 3. Hey all, it's David Morgan. So it is the 25th of July, 2020, whatever. Gonna date this shit. Probably won't release this on online till like a week from now, because I'm always fucking late with these things. Oh well. I'm just thinking of I'm thinking of like what I'm gonna do after I stop this. Maybe I should stop it first. All right, thanks for tuning in to my stupid film review.